All right, so I'm recording now, you guys. If somebody has like issues with that, let me know. I'll cut you out or something, or the your participation. I'll just kind of edit it out or something. Okay, cool. So the first thing I want to tell you guys about this event is that this is a Socratic Seminar. Okay, this is a seminar. It's not a lecture. So I'm not really here to lecture you guys. I'm here to mediate the conversation, right? So the goal of this course, this school, this program is to have people practice expressing themselves. And we appreciate participation. So if you have something to say, say it. There is no rush. We are going to take it at a pace that's comfortable for us. But ideally, this turns into a dialogue, instead of me just talking to Hal. So that's something I want to say from the get-go. And since this is happening, I want to start with this. It would be kind of weird not to mention this, since this is a critical thinking course. And I still don't know what I want to say about this myself, and whether I have like a concrete opinion about what to think. But this certainly like bothers me. And it's like I'm emotionally disturbed by it. Does anybody want to express their thoughts or feelings in terms of what's happening in Belarus right now?
Yeah, it's possible to say, for example, my opinion, if you don't mind. I support people who want to have president which they want, and I suppose it's pretty normal to do it in any time when you have elections, because it's the aim of election to choose somebody you want to be a leader of your folk. And for me, everything is pretty odd because people try to show their real opinion, but government tries to ignore everything and uses everything which it can.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, it's not fair, because people are not as strong as government, to be honest. They could be as a mass, as a lot of people who are ready to die for their idea. But in any case, I don't think that it's the best way to find a great president. And I'm positive that my opinion is pretty close to the truth, because I'm Ukrainian, and I have some kind of experience, because in Ukraine we had at least maybe 3 times the same situation, and I'm sure nobody wants to have it again.
I mean, yeah, you definitely have an opinion that we value here, since you're Ukrainian. That's thank you for your input. I'm frustrated with this, and I also support democracy, and I want I want changes here in Russia, and I want changes there. I mean, all post-Soviet countries. But my question is, like, do you see a solution to this problem? Because as far as I understand, the main issue is that the military and the police force, they are so closely connected to the government that they are the government. So they're not an independent body. You know what I mean? So, like, do you see a way of changing the situation?
For me, the best way is when government can understand that it's time to make changes. The time of this government is over. To be honest, it's pretty clear for everybody except maybe particular people in the government. The best way for me is just stop doing these things, because I don't think that it can lead to something positive.
Yeah, but like, so I just I guess I'm obsessed with solutions, and I mean we can get back to this later, but it's just like, you know, there are people who saying, okay, don't respond with force to force, then there will be no need for force. You know, but then how do you peacefully protest in such a situation? I mean, do you shut down the country or something by not going to work, or do you like stop buying food at the stores? Like, what do you do? You know, like that's the question that I guess we've been trying to answer here in Russia also for a while. But yeah, thank you for your input. So we're gonna get moving. Oh, yep. What were you gonna say?
The problem is, I wanted to say that I couldn't maybe and can't remember a dictator who talks to people, oh, okay, guys, I got that I am a dictator, and I'm going to leave you for better life, and for another person who can be a great leader for you. And there is no maybe peaceful way for decision.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that note, let's get going. But yeah, I guess finding a peaceful way is a problem. So thank you for participating. Well, this is just to support Belarus. Anyway, so this is this seminar is in Rusklish. That's a kind of a thing that's you know, not super popular right now, but I personally want it to be more popular. The idea behind this concept is that you try to express yourself in English, but like if you feel like you know the word in Russian, but like you just can't say it in English at that time, or you have an expression in your head, and you're just like you're a little lost, you have to use the translator. Don't use the translator, just use Russian. Everybody here speaks Russian, so if you have to express yourself using Russian, express yourself. The priority is expression, not necessarily the language that you use. So you know, there is no issue with that. I'm just going to let you know from the start. So with having said that, I just I wanted to bring up Mr. Newton here. This is Isaac Newton, and he was a British scientist, but he wrote in Latin, right? So they worked in Latin. English was not like a language that you know, was spoken in academic societies, or somebody was going to say something. Nope. So English was not like a language that, you know, it was not like a scholarly language. It was a language more for the commoners, and he did speak it, you know, to his cronies, but Latin was preferred, and if you didn't speak it, you were kind of like secluded from the academic discourse. But this is a similar situation. English is like the language of scholars, right, today. But that does not mean that you have to cancel out your language. You can still use it, especially during seminars. So I want to start with a story. Some of you here have heard this story before, so I'm sorry about the repetition. I'm going to talk about Plato's cave. Is anybody familiar with the myth?
Which one?
What was that, Maria?
Could you repeat, please? Could you please repeat which myth?
No.
About what?
Are you familiar with this idea of Plato's cave? This myth, like this is a mythological, philosophical saga. Let's call it that way. Are you familiar with it?
I know many myths, but I couldn't get the idea which particular myth you talk about. Okay.
Yeah. It's I mean, some people here some people here know about it, but I guess it's not as common as I thought it was. And I'll tell you the gist of it, because it's going to be kind of a theme that's going to underlie some of our discussions today. So basically, the idea of Plato's cave is that there were men who were born in prison. So they were born in a dark, wet place, and they were born in chains, and they never saw daylight. And their reality consisted of shadows on the walls, right? So these are the prisoners, and these are the shadows, right? So basically, the prisoners did not know what a horse is, right, or what a dog is the way you know it. They knew it as shadows. So they kind of like lived in a parallel universe. And the idea here is that they were born in prison. They were brought there as babies or born there. And they have no memories of reality. And so then one of the prisoners, he makes it out of prison. He is, he escapes, or he's released. But the point is that he sees reality, and of course he's blown away, right? He's like, oh, okay, the world is not what I thought it is. And then he returns to talk to his fellow prisoners, and he tells them about the world. He's like, yo, you guys are not going to believe this. This is crazy. The world is not what we thought it was. My question is, what do you think they told him? What do you think they told his friend?
Do you want us to guess? Just to generate ideas.
Yeah, and thank you for participating, by the way, because like you're the star of the seminar right now. So go ahead, yeah, go ahead, be the star. I appreciate that. Yeah, what do you think they told him?
Actually, I didn't know this myth, but I suppose it's okay to say something like, "Oh, come on, guy! For us, our world is what we can see and what we can know. There is our own experience, and it's okay for us to live in this particular world." Because ancient Greek were people who have like alternative reality with their myths, and they believed in many gods, and I suppose it could be something like the end of the story.
Yeah, you're on point. You're on point. They basically told him to leave them alone, because, well, it's hard to believe somebody like that, right? Especially if you spend your life, seeing one thing, and then basically if they thought he was crazy, right? They did not want to see reality. I'm gonna connect this to Belarus. To me, the prisoners are the police workers, or the people that are oppressing those who have embraced reality. I guess maybe those who have lived abroad, or those who have learned another language or whatever, or who haven't been brainwashed by the shadows. So to me, I mean, that's how I kind of look at the situation, and that's how I would relate to it, to modern day political
May I disagree with you?
Yeah, of course. That's the whole point. What's up?
I suppose we don't know the whole story, and we don't know what these people know. Maybe there are some things which they know about their future and the future of their family, and maybe it's not a play with shadows, but it's real fear for their relatives. Like they have to do that, or had to do that because of this fear. It's really very, very scary when you know that somebody can kill your mother or your daughter or brothers and your close people.
Yeah, it is. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, and when you have some, let's say, abstract people, just a part of folk, and your close people, sometimes it's maybe difficult to make a right decision. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that many people prefer to know that their relatives and close people are safe.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, and that there's going to be like some sort of financial income. That probably makes sense too, right? Um,
I have an experience because I'm Ukrainian, and I
yeah,
have many
yeah,
people.
yeah. No, you're seriously, you're going to be the star of this hour. I'm so happy you joined.
I am from the Donetsk region. I know many things about war and
Yeah,
relatives and.
that's perfect.
uh,
We were waiting for you. We were waiting for you. Seriously. So this is kind of like this, in terms of pop culture. I like to reference the Matrix, right? That's kind of what
yeah.
Neo goes through, and it's like it's a scary decision for him. I'm gonna throw another question out there. Do you guys know any other movies or books or artworks that touch upon this theme of like of seeing reality in a new way, drastically new way?
For example, like the Fight Club.
Yeah, Fight Club works. Fight Club works. And yeah, and I'm a huge fan of Chuck Palahniuk. He's like one of my
I
idols.
am not a fan by Chuck Palahniuk, but I do love this book and this film.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's not for everybody.
Yeah.
He's a pretty dark individual, but
I don't think that it's dark because there are many great quotes, and I suppose it's great idea to just print it and look at them every day. Like
yeah.
you are not your work, for example. You are not your job.
Right. How do you pronounce his last name correctly in Ukrainian? Isn't it Polanyuk? Like, isn't that how you say his name?
No,
Or
no, just normal Palanic.
Polanyuk? Okay, yeah. I
I
want.
suppose it should be like Polanyuk, maybe when it was his grandfather or
Yeah,
maybe grandfather, but right now it's just Palaniuk.
yeah. I guess now it's just his name has changed. But yeah, like nobody knows how to pronounce his name correctly. I want to be as correct as possible. I guess let's say Polanyuk. Yeah. So, anyways, um, I mean, this is a time that I locate for discussions, but um, so far we've gotten a little dialogue going. So everybody else, please, hop in. Daniel, especially. Let's get a discussion going if we can. So, anyways, the point of this seminar is to say that our world is overloaded with information. That's my main thesis. Is that there's so much information out there that we have to have strategies to process it. We cannot consume everything that comes to us in this era because, well, what's the problem with consuming everything that comes your way?
You don't have enough time to understand everything you read and watched.
Yeah,
You
you're
don't
not a
have time
machine.
for analysis.
You're not a machine. Yeah, you're not a processor, right? You're not artificial intelligence. You're a human being. Um, and when I talk about this, I like to also talk about, I like to mention literature. Like, for example, there is a book by James Joyce, Ulysses, right? His big piece, Ulysse, по-русски, по-моему, да?
Yeah.
And it's like it. I have students. The school that I worked at before, I had students who were like teenagers who told me like, "Yeah, I read it. I read it." Like, did you really read it, bro? Like, um, that book probably takes a year to read, 2 years, right? Like,
Come on, it's not a year, but it's really boring and it's difficult to read it
yeah,
if you don't like this style of text.
yeah. It's dense, and so like it's like you're lucky if you read one book like that in your lifetime, right? Like really read it, like really analyzed it. So I think we're not really being realistic with human like capabilities in terms of like processing information and in terms of like our ability to stay psychologically and politically sane. um, But anyways, yeah. So we're living in a crazy era, right? Like even this person has access, and I mean this, our seniors, even they have access to information now, to the internet, and to them this was a moment of, okay, like what do I think? How do I live with this? How do I navigate myself in this world? And most actually probably have not even found a firm footing in this new world, and they decided to stay away from it, right? If we have a senior who embraces this, this informational revolution that we're going through, that's normally like, oh wow, what a progressive senior, right? Because I think it's hard, because this is what starts happening. I think overthinking is going to be an issue. And I work with teenagers now mostly, and even them, even my teenage students are saying that, like, it's getting a little out of hand. Even though their processing capabilities are much more advanced than ours, but even they are saying that, it's difficult. It's difficult to to fight kind of like this anxiety that comes from information abuse, or from not being able to distance yourself from the wrong information, I guess. So we're lucky to be alive right now, I think, because this is crazy. Like, it's crazy that I'm talking to you right now. And some of you are not even in the same geographical location as I am. I guess maybe I'm conservative, but this is still like a mind-blowing thing to me. And I definitely think that educators need to address this topic more, of just how quickly we've gotten to this stage and how we need to approach it intellectually. But the analogy that I like to use is that, consuming information today and thinking critically is a lot about having, a lot of it is about having a filter, having a strategy to filter the information that comes your way. And I like to say, in order to find the gold. But this is personal, right? This is personal gold, and it's just a metaphor, right? So I'd like to discuss this. What does this mean to you, finding the gold in information that you consume on a daily basis? What does this mean to you personally? And this is a question to everybody.
Is there any volunteer?
Yeah, Daniel, speak up, bro. Are you there?
Actually, I have opinion, but I suppose it's not fair because there are more than
it's cool.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. This is I taught high school and just school before that. I mean, like a school here in Russia, like a British school. That's usually the way it is. There's normally a student that speaks more than everybody else. So go ahead. And
yeah, I
appreciate you being here. You understand? You're the teacher's pet. You have you have the maximum respect right now. So what is it for you? What does it mean to find gold in information?
For me, to find gold from information is to find something which is really useful for me, which is applicable for my particular case. Mm-hmm. Which is relevant to my interests and which can be proved by different sources. For example, from my close people, from some books, from maybe some articles, maybe some TV series or something like that. Because I think that today it's not enough to find a piece of information only in one source. Because you can't be sure that it's a good source, or if it's a really good source and a person who was a writer really knows this issue.
Yeah. So there's like a piece of information out there for every belief, right? Every belief can be supported by a publication, or there's probably a video supporting any belief, or a song or whatever. Yeah, for sure. So multiple sources is a thing, but I guess, for me, it's, I'm still trying to figure out what it means for me. Uh, but I guess for me, it's, like, I do think that there is such a thing as personal censorship, that's important. Uh, you know, like, like for example, when you're a kid, watching horror movies,
Uh-huh.
like, I don't know if I should have watched some that I did. So that there's also that aspect for me. There's searching for objective truth, but also like just just knowing what's right for you. Timing I think is important. And I like to mention, so Russian, Ukrainian schools, schools in Belarus, right? We have that same concept of like, teaching adult literature to children, right? Like we ask our children to read like, like Dostoevsky, or like, some tough literature. I read all of it, and literature was the one thing that I excelled at school and that I loved. But a lot of the books that I read, uh, at that time, I'm thinking like, okay, I should have read them later. Like I should have read teenage literature. Like it would have been more productive for me. So there's also the question of like which information is productive for you, at a certain time in your life. Um, and should we listen to people who tell us read this, do this, and who should we listen to? This is all a philosophical. These are philosophical questions that I'm trying to answer myself. Um, and I still don't have a concrete answer, but I'm definitely against like kids reading books that are meant for 40-year-olds, but anyways, um, Daniel, what does it mean to you to find the gold? Are you there? I guess he's gone. Maybe he's trying to get in. Wait, you guys, let me check if we have a participant who's trying to get in. Yeah, or Zhenya or Kirill, anybody? Wait. One sec. I think we lost the person. I just want to double check that he's well. He might be trying to reconnect, and I might be ignoring his request. 1 second. Huh. I think he's having internet issues, but yeah, let's move on. He's gonna reconnect. So, anyways, a strategy that you need to filter information today is the ability to see the simple in the complicated, right? So that's another key idea of the lesson. The ability to see simple messages in complex ideas. So in other words, it's the ability to break through euphemisms. So in Russian, the word is euphemism. Does anybody know what euphemism or euphemism means, or wants to explain? Maria, are you familiar with the term?
Yeah, because I studied philology when I was.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, you're a gangster then. What is it? What is it? What is it?
It's a special term for phrases or words which describe something but don't name this particular thing. Just yeah, like something to describe without saying the real thing, the real name of this scene.
Yeah, that's that's a good way of explaining it. It's saying something without saying the real thing. I like to say that it's a word that replaces another word, right? But the word has the same meaning. So I have this example here, like uborщик becomes cleaning manager, right? Or cleaning manager. At least I had that.
He's not dead. He's gone.
Yeah. It's yeah. But you know, I had a guy like that at my school though. Like that was his title. I looked at the documents and like at at the way that he's actually called, and like that's the way that's how we called the person that did the cleaning. Um, but the question is, why do we need this change? Why not keep like uborщик forever?
To make this professional more popular, to bring more respect to this person. Sometimes we just want not to say the scene which we don't really like. For example, about death of people. It's easier to find another word to explain the situation.
Yeah, it's much easier, right? It's also it's more appealing. It's easier to attract a person, to do the job, right? To change the name and it's I have an example, a personal example. When I graduated from college, and I started doing that. It was like my first job, I guess, like out of college. I became an intern, right? Like intern at a consulting company, and it was one of the hardest like periods in my life in terms of work, because I literally like they worked me like a slave. Like it was just horrible. So I always said, like, you guys should just call me a slave. I work for free. Like intern звучит красиво, да? But it's not like it's not the reality of the situation. It's an appealing term, right? But in the end, that is what it is. So yeah, I have this example: prostitute became escort. I don't know when, but I guess in the 20th century, or maybe sometime before that. But that's another kind of example that comes to mind. We don't really say prostitute anymore. We say escort because it just sounds like better, I guess, to describe that profession, or less offensive, or something, right? But to be more specific, to talk about the way like we write in newspapers, to talk about the way our journalists write these days, like developing countries, poor countries are called developing countries, right? They're not poor, they're developing. Yeah, that's something that I still see in a lot of newspapers, and it just kind of always brings a smile to my face, and always has. And I just want to talk about this because are we really doing the right thing by coming up with these euphemisms? I'm not sure, but anyways, so euphemisms are used to make bad ideas look good, right? Make bad jobs look good, make bad food look good, also to confuse people, to manipulate people, to create an illusion of intelligence. When the person is writing, the person often uses this to pretend like they're smart, right? But I have to mention something right away. Not all euphemisms are bad, right? Because some euphemisms actually have a very important purpose. Some words are offensive, right? And we find replacements for them because we don't want to emotionally upset the person. Do you know what I'm getting at? Maria, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
like
that's clear.
Yeah, like the example
We
that
try
comes
to make people happier.
Yeah, to make people happy. Like, you are important. You are the manager of this, right? You're not just actually, an example that I want to talk about is, so we're always coming up with a new euphemism for people who have certain disabilities, right? Like it's not politically correct to say like the word retarded is considered very offensive in English. Like we don't
Mm-hmm.
say that anymore, right? Like when I worked high school in the US, like I was told right from the beginning that, okay, you cannot say the word retarded. Not that I've said it, but I was even warned, do not say the word retarded, right? Because it offends
Mm-hmm.
people. So there's things like that. So we said intellectually challenged, right? An intellectually challenged child. Um, so a lot of words for a lot of repeating concepts. So are there any other euphemisms that come to mind, that maybe you have lately broken down? Are there any linguistic illusions that you have recently uncovered in your personal life? And that's
It's
not
not
an easy question.
for example, it's not a new task, it's a new challenge.
Yeah. Or like a new achievement, right?
Yeah.
Um,
It's a way to improve yourself.
yeah. It's not just a task, right? It's a whole big deal. It's a mission.
It's a honor for you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of that, and a lot of it is also popularized by the companies that talk about productivity and how to be productive, right? This whole like American discourse. I mean, I guess it's popularized by Americans, like be productive, achieve, face the challenge of life, la la la. Like for some reason, people these days have a problem with just like doing shit. I don't know. So I have a sentence here. I want you guys to take a look at it, and I want to say something about the sentence before you look at it. So the idea here is that the sentence is quite simple, but it's written in a very euphemistic, very pompous kind of language. But the message here is quite simple. So I'd like you to take a look at it, take some time to take a look at it, and then uh, translate this, but not to Russian, to simple English, to English that you pass through the filter, of breaking down euphemisms. So if you were to say this same sentence in kind of like in baby English, in the best of ways, in simplified English, how would you say it? And so take your time to take a look at it. Take a minute to take a look at it. I think Daniel's Wi-Fi stopped working at the best time possible. That's funny. Okay, so what do you have in mind?
Yeah, I have an idea, but it looks like we have a dialogue here.
Yeah, that's fine. That happens. And thank God you're here. Um, and this is gonna be a thing. Like this is gonna be a thing. There's always gonna be kind of again. Thank God you're here. So what do you think? Otherwise, it would have been really awkward, right? What?
Maybe it was the chance for other people
Oh,
to say something.
oh wait! I just realized there is a person that just messaged me that I was I was supposed to add. I'm still, this is new for me. Also, online education. I'm trying to make the switch. When I have personal influence, I was notorious at my school for kind of making people talk, like everybody talked, right? Because I had like a personal influence. I was able to like look them in the eyes, right, and be like, talk. So um, there's also that. There's also that. Um, it's a whole kind of It's a whole situation. But I'm actually, you know what? I'm gonna invite a person right now. She will. Oh, there he is. Well, there's a person that's gonna participate. 1 second. Two people actually want to join now, and they've been to the trial and they want to continue the course. So they've seen this material. They're gonna join right now. So I'm gonna invite them. Yeah, 1 sec. I'm just gonna invite them, and we'll move on. Mm-hmm. Sorry. All right. Yo, what's up, dude? What happened?
Все, наконец-то.
What
Сигнал
happened?
появился.
What
What
happened?
happened? What happened?
Yeah.
I got a recent call that I'm the only one who can pay for the marriage.
Oh, damn. Well, that's
This-
important, dude.
Yeah.
That's
So
important.
there were like 3 people and everyone wanted something from me. So it was quite because I had to show where the table should be located.
Yeah,
Stuff
that
like
works.
that.
That works, man. That works.
And
we're
I
all
was
and
in,
we're all
I
and
was
we're
in the
all
subway. I was
and
trying to connect people while I was in the subway.
oh, got it.
So
Well,
how was it?
oh, we're still in the process of it, man. And Maria like is the legend today. Yeah. So Maria, what do you?
It wasn't my aim. Sorry, guys.
No. You are. I'm so happy we have you. So what's
Actually, I talk every day during my job routine, and
perfect?
maybe I'm still in this process.
Perfect. So what do you think is the simple message behind this sentence?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I suppose
Everyone.
the simpler version is the Russian Revolution in the early 20s was started not by poor people, but by middle class, just more, just richer people who were smarter.
Yeah. So I like that you said rich people. So I want to say that revolution means war, right? So these are euphemisms that are a little more difficult to break through. And maybe I'm going out on a limb here, but I've read sources that that talk about the way young Russian gentlemen were recruited to the Red Movement, right? A lot of them just returned from World War I, or some of them, most of them knew what war is, and so nobody wanted to hear the word "война." Да, ну, то есть слово "война" это такое типа "я пас", right? Like it's not a very appealing word, and so this was kind of this was a term that was used by recruiters because it was like revoluция, like let's do it, let's go, but why do we need the guns? Well, who knows, maybe we'll need them, maybe we won't, just take the gun. It's like kind of like there is a lot of manipulation, I think, of people you know, in terms of like young recruits. You know, nobody told them that they were, you know, they would go and kill people and do kind of crazy stuff. But once they started doing that, it was too late. So I'm going to argue that revolution in this case means war, right? A lot of people died during this process.
But do you think that it's always synonyms? Because in my opinion, war is more like neutral, and revolution means that there were some crucial ideas. For example, the one which will have to change everything absolutely in that world.
I think it can mean change. I just think that in this case it means war. You know, in this, so this is why it's so difficult, or this is the challenge of critical thinking and you know, and breaking through euphemisms, because in this case it meant war. You know, and I think it was known that there will be bloodshed, but you know, but I think a lot of people joined the movement without really hoping that there's a peaceful way, right? So, but I think the people that started the movement knew that there is no peaceful way. So I think in this case, in this specific case, it means war, you know, the Russian war, the civil war, basically. At least, well, that's an argument that I'm making, but, you know, I'm not, you know, I don't have the truth, but that's the way I read
But
it.
historically, there are some cases. For example, French had a lot of wars, and they had a revolution when they changed their way of choosing their government, where there wasn't no any empire, and there was a republic, and this thing they call revolution. Not everything, not each kind of war.
Well, not each kind of war, yeah, but it's just like words have different meanings in different contexts. That's kind of what, I guess that's my argument. And I think in this context, it meant bloodshed. It meant bloodshed. It meant spilling blood, I think, in this context. And I think a lot of people were deluded from the truth. So also, you know, words, they came a little later to the Russian Empire in terms of popularity. When the word revolution came to France, it was like this cool new thing, right? Revolution, let's do this. That's when the term became most popular in the modern political discourse. It wasn't really a thing for the Russian commoners until that time, until the civil war in Russia, and then it was popularized and used. But anyways, so look, it says here, the Russian Revolution in the early 20th century was sparked not by the proletariat. So spark would just be start, right? So we have a lot of words that mean the same thing, like spark, initiate, ignite. And this is the kind of reading strategy that I'm trying to that I'm trying to teach, because I think that's how we should be reading. You know, we have synonyms for these simple notions, and I don't think they should confuse us. My argument is that proletariat means the poor, because nobody wants to be called poor, and you know, this is a term that was popularized by the Bolsheviks at the time, because, well, ну вы пролетариат, да, но вы же не бедные, ну что, нельзя же так называть людей, это как оскорбление, да, ну, but technically, I mean, that's what it is, right? It's the poor people, it's the people who work factories, and it's the people who work the fields, and it's the people who struggle the most, in my opinion. Bourgeoisie means the rich, to me. So if I were to simplify the sentence, this is what I would get. That the rich started the civil war in Russia, not the poor. So this is the... Huh?
No, I listen to you.
Yeah, so this would be the result of this, right? But look how much time it took, right? It took us time to go from this convoluted sentence to this sentence.
Actually, I think that there are two things which are missed here.
Yeah.
The first one about revolution, because personally I think that it's a bit different thing in comparison to just a war. And the second thing is about rich people.
Yeah.
In previous Russian, there were something about intellectual things, and in Russian history, we say that it was intelligent people who started these people with ideas, and we have the special word intelligentsia, or in English it's intelligentsia, or
Yeah.
just intellectuals.
No, yeah.
And in my opinion, it's very important to see the difference between just rich people and these ideological people who were not only rich but were intellectually pretty good.
But I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you. And I thought about this when I was making this presentation. And I guess like the way I define rich is a little less. It's just not as traditional as most would define it. I'm not talking about just financial well-being. For me, rich, it's like it's exactly about that. It's access to languages. It's access to information. It's access to literature. So rich, right? Like, what does it mean to be rich? I mean, it's a lot about access to education, right? Like the intelligentsia, right? Or intelligentsia. Were they formed? I mean, you can't just become a member of the intelligentsia, like if you come from a background of a regular serf, right? You would have to have someone teach you. So in other words, you would have to have someone make you rich. So maybe I also mean like informationally rich, right? Like rich from a standpoint of knowledge also. But that's another philosophical debate, right? Like, what does it mean to be rich and what does it mean to be poor? And is it always about material well-being? And that's that's another conversation, right? That's another conversation. But I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that there is a lot of language that we see in our lives that it's very euphemistic in nature, for a certain reason. And I guess I believe that things are simpler than we think they are, if we dig deeper into them. So I want to show you a scene from a movie called They Live, and it's a movie that touches upon this theme, of seeing the truth in of seeing the simple in the complicated, I guess, in a way also. So I want to show you the scene real quick, and then we'll be done. We'll be done soon. We'll be done shortly after this. So let me show you this scene. Have you seen this movie, Maria? They Live?
No.
I watched it.
You watched it? You
Yes.
actually watched it, yeah? What do you think
Yes.
about it?
So it is so 80s because I felt a lot of nostalgia about old movies from 90s. Because today we don't have such characters like that, and storylines like that also. Like a story about a soul guy who can solve any issue with a gun. Very simple in some aspects, I think. But
a good guy, most of all, right?
A good guy with cool phrases, muscles.
Yeah,
muscles,
like a
yes.
hero.
Very masculine, yes.
Hero of our time. Yeah. Just want to, Maria, since you haven't seen this, and everybody else who's connected, I just want to let you know that the guy finds these magic glasses like they are these sunglasses that that show him the simple truth behind complicated quotes unquote complicated quote unquote like complicated messages. So so he finds these glasses. And so in this case it says obey. Are you familiar with the word obey?
Maybe no.
So in Russian it's like повинуйся.
Okay.
So I mean the idea here is that like there's a computer company, right, that's saying like buy our computers, right? But the question is like, why should you buy their computers, and why should you buy a computer, right? So
to be controlled.
Well, I mean, it's an extreme movie, it's an extreme movie. But yeah, this is also where the brand Obey comes from. It comes from this movie. My favorite part here is work 8 hours, sleep 8 hours, play 8 hours. It's like
not bad sleep at all. It's like a dream.
yeah.
Sleep too.
Yeah, especially when you're trying to start an online school. Yes, for sure. But yeah, no. But it's just like the way of just the way of looking at things, right? Like the idea here is that he looks at a store. If you noticed here, he said, he looks at a sign that says men's apparel, right? So like мужская одежда, and then like what he sees is like no independent thought. The idea here is like, well, who told you that this is men's apparel, right? Like who told you that this is like what men wear? So it's an extreme film, but I love it because I think it makes a very strong point. So anyways. So here there's do not question authority, right? If we go back to the sentence that I showed you, it said historian, right? But like what historian, like we don't really know who said that, right? There's no name. It just says like historic, right? But who? It doesn't say who, it just says historian. So, just coming back to the idea of us being taught not to question authority.
What's your problem? I said, what's your problem?
So what do you think is wrong with this guy?
He's like the robot.
Yeah, or he has no soul or whatever. The way,
he came from other planet to capitalize our planet.
I mean, whatever.
And
Yeah.
destroy it financially.
Right, right.
Suck all resources, make human slaves, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Destroy jobs.
It's a metaphor, right? It's a metaphor. Well, Maria, I recommend this movie. Check it out. It's
I wrote this film. I adore films about marketing. Till now, my favorite one is Weg the Dog.
Which one? Beg the Dog?
The Dog.
I haven't seen that. You're gonna have to message me with that.
Хвост, который виляет собакой.
Huh. I do not know that. Does it have a similar theme?
It's just perfect.
Yeah, I'm gonna use it for lessons. Thank you for recommending. If it has the same theme, I appreciate the recommendation.
It's pretty cool. It's about marketing strategists who can change people's opinion using marketing scenes.
I'm gonna get on that. I'm also if you could message me the name after the lesson so I don't forget, I would appreciate that. Yeah, thank you so much. You know, the cool part about this job is that I get to learn from you guys. Okay, so I want to finish the first lesson with this, but I have a little game I want to play with you guys. So a Kahoot, we have a Kahoot to review this lesson. So everybody who's listening, I'm gonna start the Kahoot. And Maria, have you played Kahoots before? Have you heard the word Kahoot?
No.
So do you have another device? So if you're working from your laptop.
Yeah, I have a lot of them. Everything maybe.
Yeah, perfect.
Including head of virtual reality.
Perfect. Because you will need another device. So everybody who's listening, go ahead and connect to this. So you have to go to kahoot.it and you have to enter this number, but you have to do it on a separate device. So it cannot be the device that you're using to observe the lesson, to participate. It has to be a separate device. So you use that as a gamepad.
Do you want us to do it now or later?
Yeah. It's just, this is how we're gonna finish. We're gonna finish with a quiz.
Okay.
So you go to kahoot.it and you type in this PIN number, and you can choose a nickname. No profanity, otherwise it's going to change your name for you. So you can't use bad words. Okay, so 3 players so far. Anybody else wants to connect?
One sec.
Come on, connect, you lazy bastards. Let's see what you remember. 5 players, there you go. All right, now it's a game. It's my favorite part of the day. It's Kahoot. All right, let's go. Anybody else? Maria, you're still trying, huh?
I signed in, but and wrote my name, but there is nothing else.
Well, so you typed the PIN and you typed in your name, right?
Yeah.
On a separate device.
Yeah.
So you're probably connected.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So look, your device is going to be your gamepad. So the question's on your screen. You see, on your other device, you have options. You have. Yeah. So a euphemism is a word to replace a word for political reasons. So basically, you have to press true or false on the device that you're using to play the game. All right. Lazy. All right, let's go. All right, the word proletariat is a euphemism for what word? Or what's the closest word? So Maria, I don't think you connected, huh, to the game.
I found the answer, and I don't know what's the problem.
Yeah. Well, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. You know, we're still learning. But I'm always going to use these. I'm always going to use these. Okay, so the message that was hiding behind the poster with the hot woman, or subjectively speaking, hot woman. What was the message? What was the real message? Oh, didn't
I
respond.
know I'll answer, but I can't answer. I don't know.
That's all right. Oh, there you go. Nadia is live. There you go. You figured it out. Good job. So how was the outside world looking for the prisoners of the cave? Damn. All right, Lazy is on top here. I think I know who that is.
I don't know what has happened.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. We'll figure that out. We'll figure that out. Another word for start is the 1999 film The Matrix was mentioned in the lesson. True or false? Should be easy. Lazy is on a streak. All right, last question. Euphemisms are often used to make bad ideas look good, subjectively speaking. All right. Newton. And the lazy person wins, as always. All right. So, thank you guys so much for participating. Just want to remind you all that the main message of this first lesson is that to be a critical thinker and to be a person that filters information successfully, you need to work on your ability to see the simple and the complicated. My argument is that, well, things are quite simple, but for some reason we are made to think, well, for political reasons, right? For certain reasons, we are made, we are forced to think that, things are more complicated than they are. Yeah, so that's the main message of this lesson. Thank you guys for being here. You guys are the best. Maria, you are the star of today, of tonight. I'd love to see you again. We are going to be continuing on Friday at 9 p.m. And yeah.
Do you mean this Friday?
I mean this Friday, yeah. The plan is to continue on Friday. Yeah, so we will be continuing on Friday. You can't make it?
I can't because I had already bought tickets for British shorts, and it's on Friday at 9.
Oh, that's a shame. Well, I'll have time to deliver the lesson to you personally, and then you can catch up. So I'll get in touch with you. My goal is to build a loyal audience and to be the best teacher I can be. So I'll deliver the lesson to you so you don't have to skip. But the course is this Friday at 9 p.m. and then it's next week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 p.m., 9 p.m., 9 p.m. So there are 4 more lessons in this course. Every course has kind of like a key message. Today's key message is that you have to see the simple and the complicated. That's the key message. off today. So thank you guys. Thank you for being here. Again, this is going to be on YouTube because we're getting we're getting the school off the ground. I hope you guys don't mind that. Well, mostly you, Marie. I hope you don't mind that because you were the one who participated the most. And yeah, I wish you guys a great evening, a great day to those of you who are experiencing this in the morning time. But you guys are the best. You guys are the best. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be, to be directing Russian education towards this direction. And I can't do it without people joining these seminars. So thank you guys for being here.
Are you going to provide us some details about this course? I mean, like payment methods or something else?
Yes, of course. I will get in touch with you, or Daniel will get in touch with you, and I will get in touch with you about the second lesson that I will deliver to you personally. Okay. I appreciate you. I want to have you here because you are participating. To me, that's gold. So I will gladly deliver the second lesson to you one-on-one. I'll get in touch with you.
That's perfect. You are great as a teacher. I can write about this everywhere.
Please do.
We finally got our rock star.
Any mentioning of our school is appreciated also if you enjoyed tonight, because we are just starting and we don't really have a public image yet, and that's what we're working on.
If you need a Facebook campaign, just ask me.
I will probably ask you then. Anyways, you guys have a great evening. Be safe and don't let anybody confuse you, Don't let anybody confuse you. And
just us. Give some space to us.
We will brainwash you. Anyways, love you guys. This was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did as well. I wish you guys a great evening.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Good evening for everyone.
Good evening. Have a good night, you guys. Have a good night. Be safe. That's the most important thing.